14.3 Session Plan, Session and Program Reviews. Program aims. Speed is really important in basketball because it involves lots of short sprints to attack, defend and steal the ball. By improving Alex's speed, I can help him to improve his performance in games. The training will be specific because Alex needs to improve his speed in order to become a better shooting guard in basketball. The success of the program will be measurable because I will time Alex's sprints at the beginning of the first session and again in the last session, so I can see whether or not he has improved. The program is achievable because it does not require specialist equipment and can be carried out in any open space, such as a field. It is realistic because Alex can improve his speed by practicing sprints and by increasing the strength of his leg muscles. The program is time-bound to 6 weeks. Here is my risk assessment for my training session with Alex. Here is the PAR-Q I will ask Alex to fill out before he begins his session. If his answers suggest that he might have a medical condition, I would ask him to go to his doctors and get checked out before he takes part. Alex has a resting heart rate of 72 and a blood pressure of 110/80, which shows that he is healthy. Alex's peak flow is 505, which is a little low for his height and age, but nothing to worry about. His BMI is normal. All of these results show that Alex is a fit and healthy person who can take part in vigorous exercise. Alex is a physically active, healthy 16-year-old because he trains for basketball twice a week, where he does similar training to what I will be doing with him. He should be able to do the activities I have planned for him. It will be challenging for him, but not unusually difficult compared to his weekly training sessions. Alex is fit and healthy. He doesn't have any injuries or medical needs that would limit him in the session. Alex doesn't have any behavioural problems that would limit him in the session or difficulty understanding instructions. Alex will need the whole sports hall because he is going to be running, so he will need space. I will need 2 cones and a stopwatch. I will need to make sure that Alex doesn't have any jewellery on and is wearing the right kit. He needs to wear appropriate shoes for running with good grip so that he doesn't slip, and good support to avoid injury and muscle soreness. He needs to wear shorts and a t-shirt so that he can move freely and so that he doesn't overheat. I will watch Alex while he is doing the exercises to make sure that he does them correctly so he doesn't get injured. At the end of the session, me and Alex will put away the equipment so it doesn't become a tripping hazard for other people. If something went wrong in the session, such as a fire alarm, then I would get Alex out by going out the fire exit doors. If he was to get injured, then I would get Alex to stop exercising immediately. I would take him to the first aid point or request the first aider to come to him. If the hall was unavailable to use, we could do the session on the field. I will make sure that the floor of the sports hall doesn't have any debris. If I see anything on the floor, I will pick it up. I will check that Alex's shoelaces are secure. I will tell Alex not to run into the wall at the end of his sprint. I will put my cones away at the end of the session. When I first meet Alex, I will introduce myself and shake his hand to establish contact and create a personal bond. I will check to see how Alex is feeling, and I will check to see how he is medically. I will be enthusiastic to give Alex confidence, but I will also remain in control of the conversation. I will see if the sports hall is free, but if it isn't, I will do the warm-up outside on the field, where there is plenty of running space. I will put a cone on the ground and another using a measuring tape 20 metres away. If we are on the field, when Alex gets onto the stretching part of the warm-up, then he will come inside so his muscles are as warm as possible, so he gets the biggest stretch. Warm-up. Alex will warm up for his speed training by doing some jogging around the gym for 5 minutes. He will then add in heel flicks and high knees to warm up his hamstrings and quadriceps. Finally, he will do 2 short sprints because sprinting is what he will be doing in the main session, so he needs to get his heart rate up and muscles warmed up ready for the main session. After he has done the running, Alex will do leg swings to elasticate the muscles. These exercises will help Alex to perform to his best because his muscles will be able to stretch further, which will give him a longer stride length and more agility for the turns, which will prevent him from getting injured. He will be warming up the muscles in his legs and making them more malleable. Finally, Alex will do 10 squats to activate the major leg muscles ready for the main set. Alex is going to be doing HIIT training in his main session, which will involve sprinting 20 metres one way, touching a cone and sprinting 20 metres back. He will do 4 sets with 3 repetitions in each set. I will time and record each sprint to monitor whether he is hitting his target time, which will be slightly off his PB. I will have timed the PB at the beginning of the sessions. He won't be able to hit his PB every time because of the number of repetitions. The reason for doing sprints is to try and improve Alex's speed in a whole basketball game, not just for one sprint. The training simulates what is required in a basketball game, because Alex is required to sprint in one direction, touch a cone, and then change direction and sprint back. In basketball, you are required to change direction all the time. In a game, as Alex's team is attacking, he needs to sprint up the court to attack. If Alex's team lose the ball, Alex needs to sprint all the way back to defend. He will need to sprint repeatedly with a short rest in between. The next stage of the session is designed to increase power in Alex's legs, which will help him to accelerate and improve his vertical jump height for rebounds. If you have big leg muscles, you have more power, which means you can run faster. Powerful legs also mean that you can accelerate fast from a stationary position, which is important in basketball. Alex will do 10 squat jumps with a 20-second rest in between. Squat jumps focus on your quadriceps, glutes and hamstrings. Alex needs to get into the squat position by having his feet slightly wider than his shoulder width. Bend both of his knees at the same time and pull his glutes towards the floor. Once he is down as far as he can go, he must quickly jump as high as he can. He needs to remember to keep his back straight while he is squatting. He will then do 10 lunge jumps with a 20-second rest in between each. Jumping lunges target your quadriceps, hamstrings and glutes and will give Alex the ability to accelerate explosively. He will start with feet hip width apart. Place his left leg directly in front of him. Bend both knees. As the left leg touches the floor, his left thigh should be parallel to the floor. From the lunge position, he needs to explosively jump into the air, switch legs in mid-air, and land back in the lunge position with his right leg forward. As he jumps, he needs to keep his back straight. Finally, Alex will do 5 burpees because this will improve strength and power in his legs. Burpees also engage the glutes, hamstrings and quadriceps. Alex needs to get into a press-up position where his arms are in line with his shoulders. Put both feet backwards. He then needs to jump and pull his feet to where his arms were. He then needs to explode upwards. He then needs to land in the same place, put his hands on the floor, and pull his legs back quickly. Alternatives. An alternative to a squat jump would be a box jump or a running jump. These would also increase power in Alex's legs. An alternative to lunge jumps would be to use the leg press machine in the gym and focus on explosive movements. An alternative to burpees would be to use the rowing machine in the gym because it has similar leg and arm coordinated movements. An alternative to the cone sprints would be suicide runs. Alex is going to do a thorough cool down to release the lactic acid from his muscles and return his heart rate back to normal. He will do relaxing exercises which will give him a feeling of calm and well-being. After he has done his cool down, I will ask Alex questions on how he thought the session went and how hard he found it, so that I can adjust the next session accordingly. I will also give him positive feedback by telling him that he did well in the session. To cool down, Alex will do a 5-minute gentle jog followed by static leg stretches to release the lactic acid from his legs and to maintain and increase flexibility. He will stretch out his quadricep muscles by standing up straight while he bends his knee and brings his foot towards his back. He will grab his ankle and gently pull it till he can feel a pull in the muscle. The next stretch will focus on his gastrocnemius. Alex will stand facing the wall. He will then place his hands in line with his shoulders and bend one leg and put the other foot backwards so it is fully extended. He should then be able to feel a pulling sensation in his calf. The final stretch Alex will do is a hamstring stretch, where he sits against the wall with a straight back and extends his legs. He can then reach and try and touch his toes. An alternative to the quadricep stretch would be to lie face down on the floor and pull his foot towards his glutes. An alternative to the gastrocnemius stretch would be to stand on a stair and gradually lower his heels as far as they will go. An alternative to the hamstring stretch would be to bend one leg, extend the other, lean over, and flex his toes as much as he can. Alex and I will put the cones away in the store cupboard so that they don't become a hazard for other people. Specific session aims: increase speed by practicing sprinting and also by increasing the power in Alex's legs. Power is an important component of fitness to aid speed. The success of the session will be measured by whether Alex manages to complete the whole session and whether Alex thought that the session was useful. In the session, I've chosen to do sprint work with Alex because I'm trying to improve his sprint speed. I've chosen to work on power because power is an important component of fitness which improves speed. Sprinters such as Usain Bolt have very powerful leg muscles that enable them to accelerate in powerful bursts. The session is specific because it focuses on speed. The session is measurable because Alex will complete all the exercises. It will be achievable because the exercises won't be too hard or too easy for him. The exercises will be challenging, but they won't be too difficult for him to complete. If they are too difficult, then I will offer him alternatives. For instance, instead of doing squat jumps, Alex could just do squats. If he wanted to make it harder, then he could be holding a 6 kg dumbbell. It will be realistic because the exercises are appropriate for Alex's level of fitness. The session is time bound to 30 minutes. Here is my client evaluation form. My strengths in my session were that I was a good motivator, I was enthusiastic, I corrected Alex's technique when he needed it, I was confident, my session was well planned and I felt in control. Areas for improvement: I need to speak louder in order to be more effective. I should have spoken more by giving him encouragement and indicating how long there was to go, more than I did. I need to increase my confidence. I think I would become more confident if I practiced leading sessions more often. Also, I think I'd be more confident running a session in swimming because my swimming is my sport, and I would have greater knowledge than I have in basketball. Programme aims: for Alex to improve his performance as a shooting guard in basketball by becoming faster and more powerful. The specific aim of the programme was for Alex to improve his performance as a shooting guard in basketball by becoming faster and more powerful, and he did achieve this aim. The success was measurable because Alex's 40-metre sprint PB improved by 1.2 seconds over the 6 weeks. The programme was easily achievable because we were able to use the Basvik Sports Hall. It was realistic because the exercise programme was the appropriate level for Alex. The programme was time-bound to 6 weeks, which meant that Alex got a good sense of progress being made. Strengths and areas for development regarding my programme writing. The strengths were that my programme was good and relevant to Alex's aims, and it helped him to improve his speed. My areas for improvement were that I think that the programme would be more stimulating for Alex if he did it in a group with teammates. They would help motivate him by giving him friendly competition. This would motivate him to run faster and would make the session more fun.